سامحونا إلى المحاضرة القيمة للأستاذ علي شمخة. فليتفضل مشكورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to give this lecture/workshop on the art of writing scientific and research papers. Can you hear me? Yeah. Great. First of all, as university professors, as university professors, we are all doing three things in a university: teaching, research, and service, whether to the community, to the university, to the profession, everything. But research is an integral part of our profession. Without research, you publish or perish. Publish or perish. So research is very important in university. And it's very important when you have graduate programs, because when you do graduate programs for master's and PhD degrees, you have to do theses and dissertations. And dissertations and theses are research-oriented, not only projects. And anything you do in terms of research, you can be the best researcher in the world. If you don't publish your results, nobody hears about you. You will be known within your community, within your university or place. So therefore, you must publish the results that you come up with, and therefore to propagate or diffuse all this information to the professional community in your field. So therefore, there are ways to do research. Many people I've seen in the Arabic world, I've known many people who are doing excellent research, but nobody knows them. Algeria is one of them. I have communicated with many researchers, young researchers from Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, and other places. They are excellent researchers, excellent. I have never seen people like this who are doing research, but they're not known. Nobody knows them. You know, by chance, through my journal, for example, when they submit their publications to my journal, Journal of Nanofluids, I see their publications, wow, heavy-duty research work, but nobody knows them. I can accept the paper right away because I know it is high quality and stuff. Why the Arabic world are not publishing? Why Algeria or other countries, especially in the المغرب العربي, ما بشوف a lot of research being published. Sometimes the university may not require publications. Some universities, for example, not بس بالمغرب العربي, in other universities, they promote their faculty based on teaching and service and stuff. They don't require certain criteria for research. Research is very, very important. That, you know, the output of your research can be used in the economic development of the country. Because when you have patents, especially in here, last time I came in 2023, I found that most of your students have patents and they're working on them and stuff. This is excellent. This is research. Of course, you cannot publish the output of the patent. You just file for a patent and get the patent. But you can apply it in terms of, you know, you have a feasibility study and you have the output, the device, and then you can commercialize it into industry, startups, and, you know, companies and stuff like that. On the other hand, there are people who are doing research, they get results, they go present it in a conference. When I do real research, I don't present it in a conference. I go directly to a heavy journal, big journal, and as a researcher, I have to evaluate what type of research am I doing. Is it class 1 research? Then if it is class 1 research, I will not seek except Q1 journals. You know, seek the best first. If I feel like it's in between, I go to Q2, I accept Q2. I think personally, I think of research as a bouquet of flowers. When you have a bouquet of flowers, you have full-blown flowers, big flowers, and you have buds that are about to open, okay? It means if you have bouquet of flowers, all of them big flowers, it doesn't look good. You know, كلها زهور مفتحة كبيرة, مش حلو. All the big flowers are the Q1 journals, papers, okay? You have buds, Q3, Q4, no problem. Because if you have a combination of both, the bouquet will look much better, okay? So sometimes you say, I will not publish in Q4. No, I will publish in Q4. I will publish in Q3. Depend if I have a short note like the guy Dr. Hussein talked about, half a page of publication. This is not going to be in a Q1 journal. It's going to be a short technical note. If it's a technical note, I will publish it because I have something. When you publish something, it means you are trying to say something to the community. You have something to report, and that's what you do in research. So what I thought, based on my experience, I got my PhD in 1989. I got my bachelor's, master's, and PhD in a record time of 5 years. I did not publish anything in my master's, anything in my PhD. I graduated in 1989, December 89, and the first paper, it was in 90 or 91, first paper. In America, it was not required to publish before you graduate. So when we finished, I was concentrating on trying to graduate, and I did. And then suddenly, the first paper from my dissertation, from my PhD, I wrote it with my advisor. We published it on multi-phase flow, boundary layer flow, on multi-phase flow. And then after that, first paper we published, me and my advisor, and then I was trying to now concentrate on research. I start writing my own papers. I write the first paper, technical note. You know, technical note, a short note, a short paper. And I submit it to the top journal, and it got accepted. Short note, wow. I submit American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, AIAA, ARCME journal, American Society of Mechanical Engineering, submit technical notes, single author. They were accepted. So I started seeking, people who will, at that time would say, are you crazy? Submitting to International Journal of Multi-Phase Flow, only big shots publishing. I don't care as a young researcher to publish technical note or a letter or whatever. It's a paper in that sense. So if you look at my CV, initial papers, they were in the top journals. That if I'm thinking now, would I submit a paper in that journal? I would say, no, they will not accept it now. But at that time, I did not care. Like a young guy, he will try something and it works. So that's what happened with me. And since then, I start publishing more and more and more and more. I seek anything. I do research and start creating plans and strategy for research. And then by doing so, you always try to execute the plan. I am a person who will never surrender. I will die if I don't do research. Okay, I will do research. I'm now the Dean of Engineering in a university, and I don't care about the deanship. I do the job for deanship greatly, okay? Because it's a responsibility and I have to fulfill the commitment. But at the same time, there's 24 hours in a day. I wake up very early. I do work. I come to the office first person in the university. I park. There are nobody in the university. I go to my office, concentrate on research, to follow up with my collaborators all over the world, to answer some things before my secretaries come in, before students come in, before faculty come in, before anybody comes in. I spend the first 2-3 hours in the day, the best accomplished work of the day. And then I'm very happy for that day, and then I continue my duties as the dean. Then I go home, I do the same thing. I follow up. Now with the iPhone and stuff, you can follow up on everything that you want to do quickly in certain things. But at the same time, I always, when I'm not writing, I'm reading on new stuff in your area. In research, what you have to do, you have to have a core area, core strength, core area of your research, and then you tantaluk from this core area, and then you add areas around it that are related to the core area. This way you build your experience in different areas, and you have to read in areas that you are not working in, so that you can use some theories from different areas into your area. That's how Nobel laureates get the Nobel Awards, because they do, like us, they do regular research, but they use theories from different areas and apply it to make impact on the area they were working in. And then it becomes a big thing. That's what happens. Because Nobel laureates are not very smart people. They are visionary people who are working efficiently, and they have perception forward. They look how this will impact this, and they will try things. And luckily, something happens with great impact to the society, to the humanity. That's what it is. So, from my experience, I have worked throughout the years. Since '89, I work like a new graduate, as if I'm graduated yesterday. This is the passion for what you want to do. You have to have passion. Anything you love, you have to do it. If you don't like teaching, you're not a professor, because teaching is the first love of a professor. If you cannot teach, don't be a university professor. Not everyone has to be a great teacher, a great researcher, and a great administrator. Everybody has something, you know? Very rare people who have combined qualities like good teacher and good researcher. Alhamdulillah, for me, I always won the best teaching awards in my universities, wherever I work. But at the same time, my passion for research, because of these initial successes that I did, that gave me the momentum to continue throughout the years. For 33 years, since graduation, more than 33, 89, so let's say 90, 35 years, okay? 35 years of hard work that paid off. Now it pays off. Everything that will hurt you really benefits you. It hurts you spending time, difficulties, you run, the most important thing is to never surrender. You have to find a way to cross that obstacle if you have obstacles. So since then, I became independent of my life, of my research. Many people say, do you do experimental work? I love to do experimental work, but experimental work does not suit me. Why it doesn't suit me personally? Because I want to control my destiny, my research output, I want to control. I was in the US, I was working on multi-phase flow, fluid particle flow. I said we want to do experimental work to the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Tennessee Tech University. He said, okay, we need particle counter to have a flow with particles and stuff. We need to count the particle. Particle counter was $100,000 at that time. And we don't have $100,000. Okay, how can I do experimental work without particle counter? And then I had other PhD students doing experimental work. Why you're staying 10 years and 7 years? And so, we're waiting for the equipment to come. We're waiting for the technician to put it together. We're waiting for someone to help me this. I'm not a patient person. I cannot wait for all these things. By the time I had one Libyan guy, Masoud at that time, he died, he was my best friend. He was with the same advisor. He stayed doing his PhD 8 years with the same advisor. Same advisor. With me, I stayed with him for PhD, 2 years and 1/4 system at that time, 2 years. And they said, how can you do it? The department, I said, the person is available for me. He gives me what I want to do. I go run, I don't sleep. I go do the results. Next day, I'm in his office. He says, do you want to see me? I said, yes, I have the results. Okay. Then he gives me something else or any comments, and I go continue, finish. While if the advisor is not available for the student, then the advisor is a problem, delaying the student. So therefore, yes, the advisor should give the advisor is the person who is on the side of the student. He is there as a mentor, as a helper. He is not competing with the student, and therefore he needs to help him. He will direct him. For example, he looks at the results, he said, yes, these results look correct. Try this, maybe we try this, and so you go try. If I did not do it, he may give me some ideas based on his previous experience, and that's how we did it. So going back to research, with this mentality, I'm very proud of my advisor. I learned a lot from my advisor, not necessarily technically, because I built my experience from myself, but I learned his organization skills, his readiness to help me when I need him. He never said no. In fact, he delayed me 6 months from my graduation because he was like, how can he justify a person, a PhD, with 1.5 years? You know, many people said, did you get an answer? Because he finished so quickly. He delayed me. The first time I applied for graduation in the US, the graduate office, graduate studies, the dean of graduate students, send usually to the departments, do you have anybody will get graduated, to put him on the graduation list. I was in her office, she was a lady at that time. I called my advisor. I want to know, he did not give me, he was a serious person, and I did not want to ask him. I said, call him, Dr. John Pedersen. I said, call him and see, I applied for graduation, but am I gonna do it or not? She called him in my presence. So Dr. Ali Shmukha, is he finishing? He said, I am afraid he's gonna miss the deadline by a day or two. I was very unhappy. At that time, we had war in Lebanon. I had scholarship from them, and I wanted to help my family and finish quickly, and we missed it. I was unhappy. I went to his office. I was serious. And I said, Ali, since we're not gonna meet the deadline, let's add more stuff to your thesis. It becomes stronger, this. I said, okay, we can do something. We did more work, and then I applied for graduation, the second quarter system at that time. And then the next time, I missed the deadline by another week because he added more work. And then I talked with my co-advisor, his co-advisor. I said, Professor Sahai, Shwar Sahai, he was Indian. I said, why John is not telling me this? He said, he cannot tell, he cannot defend in the department. How can he defend you finish in a year and a half? I said, let him tell me. If he tells me, then I concentrate on papers. But he did not tell me. And one time I go correcting the thesis, and he says, okay, now I read chapter by chapter, correction. Then we finished. Luckily, I'm good. Then he says, let's read it all together now for coherence. And I told him, listen, John, I'm not writing a Bible. Okay? We have to finish. And then at that time we finished, and I respect him for that. But because he was very organized to make sure that nobody will criticize how Ali Shmukha finished that fast. Although I finished that the fastest in the university, in fact, at my graduation, the university says this is the fastest record time ever at the university to finish bachelor's, master's, and PhD for 5 years. So after graduation, with this passion for research, I started writing papers, and I created a strategic goal that if you want to do anything in life, whether research or anything, you have to get the most of it. If I want to be a teacher, I want to be the best teacher. If I want to be a researcher, I want to be the best researcher. If I want to be a salesman, I want to be the best salesman. I'll try my best. When you try your best, nobody can blame you. And leave things to God. God will open the door if you have niyyah salihah to be who you want to be. So therefore, I learned from that thing. Of course, my family over the years suffered as a result. My children and stuff. My mind is always thinking of other things. I will be sitting and working on my laptop. My wife comes and I'm thinking of something. I go like this. And when I finish, I'm happy. I want to play with them. I said, now you were shouting at us. Now I'm ready for you. So my family suffered for that. But at the same time, my family, my daughters, I have 3 daughters, they learned from me how I'm serious about what I do. Although I'm a very, I joke, I have sense of humor, I love to laugh and everything, okay? And many people who met me thought, from my name, they know me, they thought I sit in the lab and I have glasses, thick glasses and stuff. They don't know, how can you do it, okay? So my daughters learned from me. They did better than me at my age. In their age, at the same age, they did better than me. Luckily, alhamdulillah, I have 3 daughters. The eldest is Zainab. She's a medical surgeon. The second one is Malak. She is a dentist, DDS, Doctor of Dental Surgery. And the third one just finished, Doctor of Dental Surgery in orthodontic. So I'm very happy, very lucky for that. And we set an example for them, and they will set examples for their children. So when you do things in life as students, graduates, think of your family. If you don't have a family now, children and stuff, think of how you want to be a role model for your children, for your relatives, for whoever looks up to you. Okay? So I thought in this lecture, and I want to thank Dean Hatem for giving me the opportunity. We were discussing that. I said, I would have he said, yes, we want to do it. Let's do it after the, I said, okay. And first of all, now I'm not at Prince Mohammed bin Fahd University. This presentation or workshop, I gave it to, I was the Dean of Graduate Studies and Research at Prince Mohammed bin Fahd University in Saudi Arabia. And this lecture, workshop, I gave it to the faculty because they were not very heavy on research. I thought I will give them some of my way of doing research, the art of writing some scientific and research papers, and at the same time give it to graduate students. So I thought your graduate students will be able to benefit. كل واحد لو أخذ نتفة صغيرة منها يستفيد والإفادة تعم إن شاء الله. I will give some introductory things and stuff, and then we'll go from there. Okay? So the art of writing, Mr. Now I have to get used to this. Wondon says, writing is nature's way of letting you know how sloppy your thing is. When you write, it tells about you, whether you write sloppy way or non-sloppy way or the right way. So writing is the way of communicating between people. If I write you a message, okay, you may misread it depending how I write it. It might have different meaning depending on how I write. One word can change the meaning. So therefore, we need to work about how to communicate, whether verbal or in writing. So writing, especially when you're writing scientific papers, okay? The same thing, the art of scientific writing, there's no form of prose more difficult to understand and more tedious to read the average scientific paper. Scientific papers are not easy to read to anyone. You have to be working in science to understand scientific papers in anything. Whether in medicine you can read, you may not understand everything, technical things, but you will understand the flow of the information. Whether you're working in chemistry or physics or engineering or other fields. So now the content of this presentation or workshop: types of scientific writings, global view of publication in science and engineering. What are high impact factor journals? Why is it important to publish in high impact factor journals? Which manuscripts are published in high impact journals? Attributes of a good manuscript, from good research to good reporting, technical details of manuscript writing, and ethics in scientific writings, and this is very important topic nowadays especially. The types of scientific research or writings: we will have research articles or research papers. You have review articles or review papers, research reports for grants, research projects for funding when you write proposals, patents, dissertations and theses for graduate students. A research article, ultimate product of intellectual pursuit, report on research findings that are sound, valid output, previously unknown. This is why it's called research, because it's not known, the results. Novel and original. When they are novel and original, it means nobody have done them before. You're producing something new that's not done before. Add a new understanding, observation, proofs. It has a required structure and style. I am a RAD, introduction, method, results and discussions. Okay? Like this. Global view of publications in science. Now, this data that I will present, they are relatively old. Now the numbers are not accurate because this was done in 2019 or 20, the presentation. Approximately 35 journals published regularly, maybe 36,000 now or more, I don't know. 22,000 of them are ISI or Scopus abstracted. Total number of papers published annually about 2.5 million, maybe 3 million. Okay? Over 50% are never cited by anyone. Why papers are not cited? There are ways to get your papers cited. You have to learn them as a professor, as a student, as a researcher. Okay? It's not like I publish but nobody cited. It means either it has no value, or nobody has really read it, okay? Or maybe the writing is complex that did not interest anyone. Maybe you did not make it available to researchers. So there are ways to do that. So international research publication facts, articles published between 1665 and 2012, the data, 53 million articles, free and paid abstracts available in Scopus, ISI, Web of Knowledge, PubMed Central, and Google Scholar. PubMed Central has over 2.2 million at that time, and has a collection of over 20 million citations. Cyverse Scopus by Elsevier holds over 43 million records, including 18,000 peer-reviewed journals, including 1,800 open access. Now you have the open access business, okay, of journals, 700 trade publications, and 400 books. And of course, there are more now. ISI Web of Knowledge claims to hold over 40 million items, 7387 science and engineering journals, while you have 2257 social science journals at that time, so now within the same ratio. Google Scholar has almost taken over the world bibliography. These are some of the journals in different fields. This is the fields. For example, in engineering we have 1329 number of journals, but now there are more. Okay, chemistry 545, agriculture, which one the last? Here, life sciences 1408. So these are the number of journals at that time. Different fields here, number of SCI journals, immunology, geology, etc. Over 50%, as we said before, of research papers receive no citation. We'll talk about it. 90% of readers, now this is very important to get note of. 90% of readers glance through the content list only. You have a journal, they look at the titles. They glance, for example, that's what I did. At that time when I was trying to do research in a certain area, I used to go and download any paper from its title without going into the paper, just okay. Then I create folders in my cavities, spheres, porous media, filtration, this, and then at my leisure time, I open the each file and I start open the paper. If I can read it simply and understand it, then I think how I want to improve this work. Find the gaps and try to improve it. It means I keep it. If I read it, if I try to read it, I did not understand, I throw it. I don't waste my time on it. Because I cannot, I have to spend a lot of time to understand. Maybe it's not written properly. Maybe it's good, but it's not written properly, or it has notations, problems, or something like that, okay? Like mathematicians, sometimes when they use abstract writing and stuff like that, while they can write in applied mathematics way, just differential equations, blah, 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 you can understand and go through. And then you can think how you want to improve it, and think how you want to generalize the work or make it more comprehensive. So that's what I used to do. And then you have people who are looking only at the content list first. Only 5% of the 90 open the journal to review the titles. Open the journal to review through the titles. Less than 2% scientists read the abstract. Only 2% read the abstract to see what's the content, okay? Some people may scan. I personally scan everything. I read only the mathematics. If it has mathematics, it interests me because I do mathematical modeling. So I just scan it and see the title and the topic, and I keep it alone. When I want to get real research on it, I go and open it and start working on it, okay? So 2%. Less than 1% read the rest of the paper. And who reads your paper the most? The reviewer of your paper, when you submit it to the journal. Because the reviewer want to criticize it. So that's the person who reads it, okay? But I don't think now, if you know Einstein, he has a paper, and you're interested in that area, unless you are really doing work in that thing, you're gonna read the paper word for word, okay? Otherwise, if you're in similar area, you may scan it, understand something, you may get some ideas, but you're not gonna read it totally, okay? So therefore, whoever wants to cite your paper has to see value in it so that he can reference it in his work or her work. So therefore, you have to find ways to get people to notice your paper, see your work, and also to get interest to cite it in their work. Okay? That's professional citation. It's not like put every paper of mine and cite it and play games. Okay? So based on this, it means we have to do a lot of work to get our work noticed in the academic community. What are high impact factor journals? Impact factor of a journal is the frequency of its citation. When you have a journal, it has, the impact factor is 14, high journal. Okay, this is superficial, okay? Superficial, but it is acceptable way of measuring quality of a journal, the impact factor, journal impact factor. And how do you get the impact factor to increase? By citations from different journals to that journal, to papers in that journal, and then the impact factor of that journal increases, okay? Although some editors and publishers play games to improve the impact factor of the journal. So this is why I say it's superficial, okay? And then you have high impact factor journals are the ones which have high frequency of citations by others. It is a superficial but internationally accepted measure of quality of journals. As I said, a good high impact journal may publish a paper which have low to zero citation. Even if you publish in Q1 journal paper, your paper may not be cited if it did not interest the community that are working on your field. So therefore, you have to make it visible, available, credible, factual, valid to people so that they can notice it and use it in their work. So even if it's Q1. Again, it comes back to you again. Okay, reflecting the average number of citations of an article in a journal, what is an impact factor of a journal, appears in the journals, we're talking about journals, appears in journal citation reports, GCR list every year. They have GCR list 2025. You will see the listed papers from Clarivate Analytics and GCR list for that thing. This is the ISI journal list. Okay, journals with high impact factors considered to be more scientifically important and more prestigious. Again, superficial but yet acceptable way of doing that. How do you calculate the impact factor of a journal? You usually look at 2 years back to back. For example, if I want to citations in 2000, citation of papers in 2012 to articles published in the same journal in 2010 and 11. Previous 2 years, you look at the papers in the journal in 2010 and 2011. Count the citations of the paper for those papers in 2012 after 2 years of publication, 1 or 2 years. Yeah, this will be 1, this will be 2 years. Then you divide articles published in divided by articles published in number of publications, citations over the number of publications. That will be the impact factor, definition of impact factor, how journals find the impact factor. At that time of this preparation of this workshop, Nature had an impact factor of 34, now it's higher, okay? Science 29 at that time, Lancet 30, etc. These are considered Nature publication. Many people say Nature publication. Even in Nature you can manipulate things and publish. Now with the open access for one of their things, you pay $5,000 and you could, this is when you pay money to get your work visible, that's business. This is why I was talking with one of the professors who said the best business now is to have a couple, 3 journals at retirement, get them into Scopus and Web of Science and open access journals, okay? And publish, like MDPI, the Chinese journals. MDPI, $2,000, $3,000 publication. I'm a reviewer. I look at it. One time I rejected some papers. They sent me, the editorial assistant said, can you reconsider the evaluation? I said, you want me to accept it? They want to make the $3,000, so they don't want a rejection. So that's why, again, in universities, in my university at least, I get some faculty who are never publishing, and suddenly, within the same day, they have 5 publications in MDPI, they want to apply for promotion, okay? I know the game, but I mean, there are no rules. I will accept them, you know. But I mean, this is not research. This is gaming, okay? But I mean, we have, as universities, we have to know real research from fake research and other things. Because researchers will have to have continuity. You cannot publish. I have, unfortunately, in the Arabic world, not the total Arabic world, in certain areas they say, I got my professorship. Now I can sit and enjoy. And this is wrong. Now you have, as a professor, you have more responsibility to the profession, to the students. People will benefit from you now as a professor because you have the experience, you have this, you have mentor. You know, how great is it to have a graduate student who is looking to you, and then they become doctors and they have doctors as their students. I feel proud because I have this, a doctor of my student doctor is my, I mean, حفيدي العلمي. مبسوط أنا. Huh? So therefore, don't publish just to get promoted. Publish because you love to do research, because you have passion for this, because you have to do an impact the field, تأثير, mentorship, helping out people, you know, helping society, because this may take you may be a bad person, and this may take you to heaven because of this service that you do in life. Okay, H-index and Hirsch index or Hirsch index. It measures, we all talk about H-index, okay? It measures both the productivity and impact of the published work of a researcher. H-index is a measure of quality of your work. Again, this is superficial somehow, because if the citation is not proper, then the numbers are not proper. But in general, again, like journals, it is an accepted way of measuring the productivity and quality of the work of the researcher. The index is based on the set of the scientist's most cited papers and the number of citations. You have number of papers, they are put in certain order, and then you can match the citation. I will show a figure now. The index can also be applied to the productivity and impact of a group of scientists. Could be for a department, we collect the whole faculty, whole papers, whole citations, and then we can measure H-index of a department, H-index of a university, college, and even the university. At Prince Mohammed bin Fahd University, as the Dean of Graduate Studies, that's what I did, to see what departments, what colleges are producing more, and what their impact for the university. Because here, for example, I was talking with some of your vice president for ranking. We were talking about why University of Bishkek is not ranked highly in the Arab QS ranking. Of course, because our Times Higher Education, because it requires research. And they say, for example, okay, the scientific colleges like engineering, science, and stuff, they publish easily, while, for example, social sciences, business, law, whatever, they don't publish as much, okay? I will tell you that in social sciences, when they do the ranking of universities for QS and Times Higher Education, there's a fudge factor for each paper in social sciences. For example, each social science paper could count sometimes, depending on the year, and they may multiply it by 5. Because if you're working in medicine, you can publish daily. Any result, you can publish it, okay? In chemistry, in science, in engineering, a little less, but still high. But in, for example, social science, you may not be able to do that as much. So QS, or the ranking agencies, they know this information, and they fudge factor, they normalize the data and use it. It means we need to encourage our social science departments or colleges, and law, الحقوق, other business departments to publish, to increase. The increase of their publication will help the university ranking. So we need to, this is why I used to do H-index for this college, for this college, for this college, by departments, for each department, to see, for engineering, for example, you have electrical, mechanical, industrial, chemical, whatever. So I want to see who are really contributing to the college. And this way I can In fact, when I spoke to the president of the university, I said, you have to give incentives for research. You know, I understand the things come from the ministry with certain laws and stuff, but everyone should have certain leverage to help. For example, if I don't expect everyone to be the best researcher and best teacher, but I know if research is a priority for the university, I will see who are really publishing in the university, collect them, and count on them. And for example, I can personally, I will lower their load, teaching load. If you're teaching 4 courses, I say, teach 2, but produce 10 papers, 5 papers, whatever. This way, they're contributing in other ways for research, for the ranking of the university, ranking of the country, okay? They're helping out in other ways. This way I can do, if I cannot pay him money, I will pay him, give him مميزات تانية تخدم, okay? So this way you can count on the winning horse, okay? Usually you say if you do good work, you get more of it. Because if you work with me and you're doing good work, if I want to do something quick and accurate, I'll say give it to him because he can produce it and I don't have to worry about it. If I have to give it to someone, I have to repeat after him, no, I'd rather do it myself, okay? So therefore, we need to do that, and we need to do H-indexing, a comparative analysis for departments, productivity, citations, who are doing, who are the winning horse. This way will energize everyone. If I have an award for active people, reward or award or whatever, and therefore these people, everybody will start competing, you know, in a good way. Okay, I need to be the best. I need to be the best in the department. I want to contribute more. I want to be noticed. Maybe if they notice me, they put me chair of the department, dean, assistant dean, whatever. People they love to do that. But if you see no incentive and stuff, people tend to say, I'll sit, nobody notice me, I will do this. Personally, I don't care. I don't work for rewards. When I work, for example, when I win awards, I don't work because I want to get that award. I just work basically full force. ما تحصدوا ما تزرعوا حتحصدوا. You know? Now, at my age, after 35 years of professional work, I'm now getting the rewards of what I planned from at the beginning. Okay? Now I'm not doing a lot of work by hand. I have more students, collaborations and stuff, and I have the vision where I want to go in certain areas, and I do certain things by hand, but mostly depending on the young strength that I have. Many people want to work with me, collaborate with me, want to attach their name to my name because I'm known. So they benefit. I benefit because they accomplish things that I want to accomplish, which I don't have to do them myself. Now I don't do programming. Before I used to do so many programs. This is for this type of problem. This is for this type. So now I count on the young people, researchers, strong, working hard, dependable, and then we can produce through them and everyone else. So everybody benefits, as well as the university, the country, the Arab world as well. So the index can also be applied to the productivity and scientists and groups, as I said. Okay, this is the H-index. The H-index is based on a list of publications ranked in descending order by highest citation, papers with the highest citation, and you rank them in that order, in descending order by times cited. The value of H is equal to the number of papers N in the list that have N or more citations. This is the number of citations. This is the curve, okay? And then you have number of papers. You match this to this, and this will be your H-index, the H-index, okay? So if you have 15 papers published, what is the maximum H-index you can have? 15 at best. You cannot have. If you publish 2 papers and you have million citations in it, 2 papers, okay? One has 2 citations and one has million citations. The H-index is 2, not more than that, because it depends on the number of publications. For me, my H-index today, I checked it, 151. It means I have 151 publications. They have minimum of 151 citations, okay? And the below, then the second one the 152. To become 152, I have the 151th paper has to have, and everything above it should have 152 citations minimum to get it cited. So it's not easy, okay? But it means to have high H index, you have to have high productivity. This is why we said quality because of citations and productivity because of the number, okay? So this is the H index. Now, how do we look publishing in high impact journal? It is the idea which matters in research. For example, Newton's, when he had the apple going down, he thought of the law of gravity, okay? Anybody else will say, okay, I have an orange that went down. It's like the law of gravity. So this guy found a theory. This guy said, oh, this applies to that theory. So there's nothing new here, okay? So it means there's no novelty. This guy has novelty, although both of them look the same, right? So it depends how you think or look at the results that you produce. E-journals versus print journals. At that time, they were talking about e-journals, electronic journals, and open access, and etc. Okay, I'll talk about merits and demerits. I'll just look at the merits. Merits, easily accessible e-journals. You can open it, download it, do whatever you want. Online submission, online editing, time saving, on-spot access, can download any article without payment. Print journals, the merits are easily accessible in the library, at home, whatever it is. Okay, personified copy, legibility, no dependency on computer or electricity. If you don't have electricity or computer internet, you cannot download for the E. But here you have it on the shelf, you have it in the library, you can get it. Okay, can read at your leisure anytime you want. You open it, no need of link, continuity, etc. So, why is it important to publish in high impact journals? Because of the proverb that says publish or perish. If you are a university professor that you are not publishing, okay, you're perishing, you're decaying, you're at the end. Okay, although you may be teaching the best, the best courses in the university, but public research is part of your required duty. Teaching, research, and service. I can teach one course and go home, but I'm not doing any service. I mean, this is not service, okay? Some people in the US get tenure. It means nobody can fire them. And also in governmental universities in the Gulf or other countries, okay? I cannot fire them as, but at the same time, they're not contributing anything. So therefore, this is where incentives work. If you're not contributing, he is contributing, I will give him incentive. So maybe it may يمكن يعني تعديك تصير تشتغل اكثر لتاخذ انسنتيف. لان القروش تحرك المي الراكده. Okay, the incentives. So publish or perish, greater visibility of research findings. When you publish, you have visibility of the results that you produce, because when you do research, it means you're spending a lot of time, your university time, to say something. Okay, if you produce results and you're happy about them and nobody knows about them, you're the only one who knows them. So it means we have not done anything. Okay, you may forget them tomorrow or do something else and nobody sees your results. So you have to present the results. Increase chances of citations. If you present them and publish them, whether in papers, if you can present them at the conference, but nobody can cite them because you present it and everybody will forget after the conference. But if you publish them in a journal, then people can read the paper and cite the paper, okay? Or if the proceeding in a conference, if it's indexed by Scopus, then people can go into that and they can cite it. A greater recognition among peers. If you produce good work, people get to notice you, they will know you. They will say, oh, this guy published in that area, he is a good person, a good teacher, a good researcher, etc. You will become popular. Associated benefits such as promotions, productivity, allowances, etc. Of course, people can get promoted because of research requirements for promotion purposes, and also allowances. Some universities pay for publication because they want to increase the ranking. They will give incentives for publications, a certain number of publications, okay? Which manuscripts are published in high impact? What type of work are published in top journals? work of established scientists. And this is why I noticed that many young people send me emails, I want to work with you on this topic and stuff. Personally, I will not let anyone down. Why? Because it's my responsibility as a professional scientist to help the youth beyond. They might not be up to my level, but I will let them try and do and work and stuff. I will not tell them no. I'll tell them I will be happy to collaborate. It's an honor to work with you. They feel great. Oh, Professor Shmukha will work with me? Great. Then what I do, I test. I start usually with their strength. They probably have one paper, two papers before. I say, okay, we will work on the work that you work on, that you have experience in. Okay, I looked at your papers. I think what you can do, since you have your programs, you have your tests, whatever, try to do this, maybe increase that, or try these deviations. Get me the results. And then we'll go, they bring results. Then I will notice if they have flaws, problems. Sometimes they present some numerical results wrong. I can notice them wrong. I say, no, these are wrong. You need to do this and that. They learn. Okay, I'm not spending a lot of time with them, but I'm teaching them as if they are my graduate students. I'm leading them into the right way. Okay, initially they may write. Usually I tell them, write your paper. Write anything, whatever you know, whatever you see in physics, whatever, physics of the results, discussion and stuff, write. Okay, like I do with my graduate students, write anything you like. What have you seen? I say, no, you have seen this, okay, I correct initial thing. Then I say, rethink about this and that and that and that, rethink. When I see that they got the idea, then I can get in and correct the English. I correct it and add some of the physics. But I want them to see through the equations, what do they mean, how the results, what to expect, how to check that your results, the numerical results, are correct or not correct, because you have boundary conditions, okay? You have, for example, in boundary layers theory, you have a plate, let's say, you have a boundary condition at the surface, and you have boundary condition at infinity, at the free. At infinity, when you have boundary condition at infinity equal 1, it means the results should, and the boundary condition at the surface is 0. It means the profile should start 0 to satisfy the boundary condition, and 1. If this is coming like this, 0 to 1 at infinity, 1 like this straight line, it's wrong. Why? Because at infinity you're saying, it means it has to go down asymptotically approaching the 1. It cannot come like this. Usually people do Ranjakata method, quickly, small points, pop, 0 to 1 satisfies. Yes, it satisfies, but it does not satisfy the asymptotic approach to the free stream. This is a major problem. I find it in some published papers. Okay? So I teach them why it happens that, then they will notice that. They will never repeat that mistake again. These kind of things, so I don't let them go. So working with established scientists, even in the department, if I have students in different department, he sees a professor here that can help them. Okay, the professor may have said, come work with us on this little thing. It doesn't have to be your thesis. You're working on your thesis. But I have other work, a project or something. You can help me out with that, and then we can publish together. The student should be free to do that. For example, at Kuwait University, when I was at Kuwait University, I had teaching assistant publishing with me more papers than the faculty in the department. Because I would put them, they would help me out with graphing, with things, doing some programming, and I put their names on my papers, and they make work. And for them, it's a great thing. The faculty got jealous, and that's why I had problems with certain universities. They said, oh, you're not working with us and stuff. I work with you if you want to work. I'm not going to put your name just because you have authority on me. No, I will not do that. It's illegal, unethical, and I will not do it no matter what. And this is why I changed the university. Okay, novelty of finding. Things that have no novelty will not be really published. If it is published, it's by chance or lack of experience by the editor or the reviewers or whatever. You have to have novelty in the work that you publish. Concise and well written. Concise, correctly, and well written. If you cannot tell in writing what you're doing, the value of your work, it will not be published, because the reviewer, they cannot understand it, they will reject it. Usually when I review papers, I look at it. If it is, I have to look for the things that are being done, they're not very clear, I just say rejected. You know, I rejected. People tend to do that. This is why, write in the simplest way possible your work. Make it clear. Let people read it and understand it. If I read something, I understand, I get interested in it. Even if it's not very high value, if I see that I can understand it, I think like the reader. When it is published, the reader has to understand it. As I told you, when I make files on different type of problems, I have folders, right? If I cannot understand, I throw it out of the file. Therefore, learn from that. Whatever you don't accept for yourself, play the role of the reviewer or play the role of the reader. Introduction to normalized citations. The number of received citations vary from one field to another one, and on average, and older papers get more chance to get cited than new ones. Okay, so to control the effect of fields, different fields, whether social science field or business or engineering or medicine, we have to work about, we normalize citations for measuring research performance of the university, for example. When they want to rank the university, they will see total citations of the university, not only engineering papers or medicine, everything, citations to papers with affiliation University of Bishkek. They look at the citations and they normalize them. This is why sometimes if a college is not publishing, it will affect badly the ranking of the university, because they divide on the number of faculty, full-time faculty, publications per faculty, full-time faculty. If I have 100 faculty in the College of Business, they're not publishing except few. Okay, and I have College of Medicine doing a lot. College of Medicine have 500 faculty. This guy has 200 faculty. Okay, I get 500 that plus 200, 700 faculty, and they get the papers. It means they divide. When we divide the 200, it means affected the normal average of citations and papers. That will affect the normalized citation and normalized number of facts. To normalize the number of received citations, the paper's number of received citations is divided by the average number of citations in the paper's field and the paper's publication year for each year, of course. Now, if normalized citation is equal to 1, after normalizing, you can check your work. If the normalized citation is equal to 1, that means your paper is according to the global average. Okay? That means the output performs just as expected for the global average, meaning the whole world, not only Biskra or Algiers or Arabic world, for the whole world, if it is within the citation. Let's say a paper in that field, mechanical engineering, heat transfer, let's say gets 50 citations, okay? On average, globally, for all papers in that field globally. If my paper in heat transfer gets 50, it means my average is 1, normalized average is 1, it means I am with the trend of international trend, with global trend. If normalized citation greater than 1, it means that the output is more cited than expected according to the global. You're doing better the global average. It means that paper has value, or people have seen value on it and they are cited. For example, 1.48, it means 48% greater than the global average. If normalized citation is less than 1, it means the output is doing less than the global average. Now, if we look at some acronyms, JCR is the acronym for Thomson Reuters, now Clarivate Analytics, of course, citations report. Journal citation reports, JCR. GIF is the acronym for Journal Impact Factor for the journal. IF, Impact Factor. You see these, Thomson Reuters. Again, emerging meaning, some faculty asked me in my university, emerging sources citation index, ESCI. Is that an ISI journal? Is that an ISI journal? The answer is not an ISI paper. It's not. Why? Yes, it is there, indexed in the Web of Science. Okay? And nowadays it has an impact factor. Before it has no impact factor. Now, recently for the past 2 years, it has an impact factor. But it's not an ISI paper. It's in the journal site JCR list, but it's not an ISI paper. It's in the Web of Science. Yes, it is in the Web of Science. ISI papers do not have the E, the emerging. Emerging, they will be indexed after evaluation by the agency. Web of Science core collection, they have core collection and they have JCR list. I talked about it. And the JCR, the impact factor is the default for now. Now you hear of the Q1, Q2, Q3 quartiles ranking of journals. Q1 are the top 25% journals with the highest impact factor. So journals are ranked according to their impact factor. And if they are in the top 25%, they are Q1 papers. In the middle, between 25 and 50, they are Q2, Q3, Q4. 4 quartiles, okay? And Q4, the last impact factor. The percentile, sometimes they don't do Q1, Q2, they say top 5%, top 10%, top 15%. And this is the same thing. Now, if you look at the average number of this here, for example, Q1, paper 1.6, 0.8, 0.5. Let's say, take this example. This is Q1 papers. This is Q2 papers, Q3 papers, Q4 papers. What do they mean? They mean, if you look at this example, it means one paper in Q1, okay, equals, if this is 1.6, means it equals to two papers in Q2. 1.6 divided by this is about 3 papers in Q3. One paper in Q1 will have higher citation, 60%. It has about 5 papers of Q4, according to this example, of course. If these are the citations, okay? So this is why the probability of citing papers in Q1 is much higher than the others. Okay, although there are some papers in Q1 that are not cited, but in principle we're talking. On average, publishing one paper in Q1 is equals to 2, 3, and 5, as I said from the example. Now, how do Nobel laureates papers, distribution of their papers? These people who get Nobel Prize winners, I said, sometimes you may have a Nobel Prize winner, they don't have high H index, they don't have this, but they publish, okay? They publish heavy papers. Okay, how do they publish? They don't only publish in Q1. If they have something to say, they will publish it in any journal. But usually, 73% of their papers are in Q1. The majority of their work, because they have high impact research, is published in Q1 journals. 16% about, in Q2, 10% in Q3, about 2% in Q4. Okay, depending on the field and the areas. If you do this, then you have citation-wise. The normalized citation index, normalized citation, we said 1 is the global, huh? 1 meaning the citation, if the normalized citation is equal to 1, it means it's in line with the global average. Usually for Nobel Prize winners, for Q1, their Q1 journal papers in Q1 journals, they get about 250% more than the global average, 3.5. Their Q2 is about 1.3, almost with the average, 30% more in this. Their Q3 is less than the average, global average for that Q3. Q4 are about, these are real data from certain laureates. Same thing here, 91% in Q1, now received by papers from journals with different impact. Okay, this is 91% of their output in Q1, 6%, 2%, another example, but in terms of percentages. Now distribution Nobel in Q1. Now within the Q1, of course, Q1 is between 0 and 25%. So it could be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 15%, 25%. How do they rank? In the top 1 to 5%, only 13 papers. They have 13% of their output are in the top 5%. They have about 25% of their output in top 10%. Okay, 6 to 10%. 15% of their output is from 11 to 15%. 11% here. The majority are close to the edge of the Q1, so they can go to Q2. Okay. So it means Nobel Prize winners do not only publish in top 5% journals. Okay, they publish in all of them, but they get high citations if they get depending on the field. Same thing here in Q1, 26%, 42%. It's similar to the one before. These are in terms of normalized citations. You see in the top 1 to 5%, if it's published in Nature, it gets cited a lot. So it gets here 360% above the 360% above the global average. Here, 290% above. These are the 6 to 10%. They get the citations, etc. So you see, if you publish in the top journals, top 5%, 10%, you are most likely to get. If it is published in that journal, it means the paper is very strong in general. Okay? If it's published in that journal, in that rank, in the top 5%, 10%, you are more likely to get very high citation paper in that journal. So this is for the laureates. Now I want to talk about, these are introductory things that we need to put in our mind when we publish, where to publish, how to get cited, how to improve this. Attributes of a good manuscript. How do we write our papers? Usually, attributes of a good paper, it has to be concise and powerful. It has to be story-like telling. You tell it as a story, okay? Whether it's an experiment or modeling or whatever, get the interest of the reader, whether the reviewer or the reader at the end, because the reader, when the paper is published, is more, if he likes it and understands it and easy to read, will cite it if he's a researcher. To the point. Don't do a lot of, I did this and this and that. You know, this is my ear and this is my ear. I don't have to do this. Okay, point. Like the question and answer. I was previously telling, I think, Zidane, I was telling him, the question is too long and the answer is even longer. It's taken more time than the lecture itself. So, direct question, direct answer. It's not like, مش شطارة إنه أنا أقعد لا it takes a lot of time, okay? And people will be scared to ask a question because the answer will be too much. To the point, free from grammatical and stylistic errors. If you cannot write English, get somebody else to write it for you, okay? Let people proofread it for you. You cannot have a good journal, good papers submitted to a journal in English, and there are a lot of errors. In almost all my reviews of papers, the first point, the paper should be proofread throughout the paper. Because when I see something in the abstract, when I read the abstract, I see errors in English, automatically I say it is in the whole paper. Review all the paper, check the English. Okay? So we have to be really good about that, because if it is written in proper English, easy to read properly, then it gives more chance to accept it. Free, recognizing contributions of others. If people help you on the paper, you have to decide, are they authors, co-authors in the paper or in the acknowledgement? You have to acknowledge people who work with you. I received, as editor-in-chief for a journal, I received emails from people, oh, I worked with these people on this paper, they did not put my name. It's not my problem. Your problem with them, okay? But if you give me proof, sometimes what they do, we work together, we are 4 names, and then it gets rejected, okay? And then when we resubmit it to another journal, we removed her name. And then if he can give me proof of that, then I can question the author. I say, the paper was submitted, rejected, this is the proof. We get it, and this is unethical. You cannot remove her name because you're not happy with her now after this. So if she has the right or he has the right, you have to acknowledge their contribution. Recognizing contribution of others, technically correct. You cannot think you're smart and you publish something wrong and you know you're wrong. Because if it is wrong, it's more likely to be removed from the journal, okay? So if it is removed from the journal, you ruin your reputation. Okay, nobody can trust your work if it is wrong. Quality is a state of mind. How do we think, is my work quality or not? If it is accepted by the people as quality, it is quality, whether I like it or not like it. I may like something, I say, this is high quality, but nobody acknowledged that. It means to you is quality, but to others it's not. It could be bad quality to you, and people love it. It means that's how it determines quality. So the definition of quality depends on who is evaluating that. If you have a product that you want to sell, juice, and you say, oh, it's really bitter a little. If people love it, it's quality, they love it. Okay, good. So this is the same thing. Good science leads to great findings, and great findings need to be reported in the best possible way to the world. The same thing, when you want to present something that you think is high value, you have to present it in the best way. Okay? انت عندك تمر البسكرة، ها؟ أفضل تمر بالعالم الجزائر، ها؟ إذا أنا بدي آخذ أنا التمر هيك وغلفه كيف ما كان So therefore لازم غلفه بطريقة مميزة لحتى يعبر عن جودة هذا التمر. بس إذا بدي زته كيف ما كان بالسوق بيعه بالكيلو هيك على العربانة وهيدا معناته إنه high quality. Same thing, if you want to present yourself, okay, you have to look good. If you are professional, you have to look professional. Okay, same thing to do that. Okay, so now idea starts from a dream. You dream about certain thing you want to do. You design, you discover, you deliver, you publish. Creativity is a fundamental attribute of science which is driven by curiosity. That's what drives research, curiosity. You're curious about certain things, you start doing research about it. Ideally, it is to communicate why research articles are important, to communicate or share new discoveries to science, to improve the quality of life or providing better health care, to make contributions to society, more often to advance certain areas in the field, to get research funding, grants, you want to apply, you publish a lot, to show the funding agency that I have good research, they will fund you. To get the tenure for in the university, to improve scientific impact of the university, etc. Why to publish and not to publish? Quality of the scientific study, invention and innovation, depth of the study, interest of scientific community, audience, message on the publication, time of publication. Okay, deciding on the journal, when you want to decide on the journal, aim high. If you think the work is worthwhile, go for Q1 journal. If it's rejected from Q1, you go to Q2. But if you think it's not a Q1 journal, go to the right journal, Q2. Q1 and Q2 are the best. So you decide based on the quality. Because I have to run quickly because he gave me an ultimatum. He told me you'll get out of the room before if you don't finish. So points to be considered before publishing. Target audience. Who are you writing the paper for? Okay? You need to know your readers so that you target it directly so to understand it. Prestige of the journal, your own institution. Impact of the factor of the journal might be of interest. Q1, Q2 now. That. How important citations are. If you get, for example, this phase, this is the best. I was published recently in a good journal and I got really lots of citations. Depending on, this is a state of mind. Okay? Now, when you're trying to publish a paper, everybody is after you. You know, these are the reviewers waiting to just hit you. Okay? This is why you need to be tactful how to write the paper to avoid these hits. Okay? Exciting the reviewer's mind is far more important than exciting the reader's mind, because the first obstacle is the reviewer to get it to publication. Therefore, I have to write it in the right way to get it accepted, whether I like him or not. It's likely that no one will ever read your paper more thoroughly than the reviewer. As we said, he is the person or she that is paper. When asked, suggest referees that appreciate your work. Sometimes journals say, submit 5 reviewers. Okay, you don't submit your friends because people know they are your friends if you're working with them. What you do sometimes, you might have collaborators, but if you know, for example, I know this top researcher who have cited my work before, or working in my area, I think he or she will appreciate my work, I will suggest a name. As editor, I don't usually send the paper to the people who submit the names. I choose my own. We have different types of publications, of course, letters, articles, communication, supplementary articles, etc. Criteria for good research: novel idea, quality science, good writing and attractive presentation, published in high impact journal. Remember, a good article is the one that is read and cited. That's a good thing, meaning people found value in it. Technical details, I don't have, this is quickly, I can run through it. Writing is a crucial, critical step in science through, although scientists are not trained to write. If you're not trained to write, get somebody to help you write, or collaborators can help you write, okay? Key, the path to writing well is to read excellent writers and write and imitate. Write and write by practice. The more you write, the better you become at. It's like language. Free write your thoughts. Don't worry about the structure, just put them. When you do experiment, write the results while you're in the lab, before you get out and forget it, okay? Write the design. If you go out of the lab and you get the results, and after 1 month you wanna write about the paper, you forget everything. This is not the right way, this is not the efficient way. So I will skip these things. Best practice to prepare the figures and write the draft as the experiment is progressing, because it's still fresh in your mind, okay? The worst practice to write papers after you have left the place. Divide the work on the principle, eat an elephant bit by bit. What you do is, you quickly, what is the easiest thing to write? Not the abstract. The abstract is the last thing to write, okay? Because if you're writing the abstract, it means you have written everything else and have seen the results. You start with the easiest thing to you. Anything that, it's like the exam. When you take an exam, you start with the first problem, skip it. Don't worry about it. Go to the easiest, get the points, okay? Then go back to the most difficult one. So that's how I start. It means start with the easiest first and most difficult later, okay? The introduction should tell you what is the problem, what did you do in the methods, what did you find in the results, what does that mean in the discussion. The discussion is the most difficult. These are title, abstract, introduction, result, acknowledgement, references. This is the right way. Okay, the title helps you a lot in citations. If you write a title that have points, words that can be, when you do Google search, okay, convection, heat transfer, this. The papers that come in the Google first ones they have a lot of points, a lot of words that in the title, okay? If you have short title, it doesn't have to be very long title, it has to be maximum 2 lines, okay? If it has very short title, this most likely will not appear in the literature, in the search, okay? Attractive and catchy title, sometimes the colors, figures, things like that attract. Most published articles are not cited. The title plays a vital role, as I said. Construction of an article title has a significant impact of the citation frequency, etc. Electronic searches, as I said before. Okay, nature's titles do not exceed 2 lines, as I said. Titles do not normally include numbers, acronyms, abbreviations, punctuations. They should include sufficient detail for indexing purposes to be general enough for readers outside the field to appreciate what is written. Okay, this is the abstract. What you put the abstract is like a summary of what you've done. Okay, would have, doesn't have to have results in it. The skeleton, structured and unstructured, usually you have of an article. This is the structure. Less than 2% readers remember that, cite your article. Among these, less than 2%, 98% readers just read the introduction. Okay, I'll run quickly here, I'm finishing. Create a research space, avoid comprehensive reviews and self-citation. Avoid self-citation. Self-citation is not good. I had a collaborator who wrote on a paper. I said, okay, write the introduction. He put like 20 papers of his papers, and I had to remove them all. This will ruin the paper. Okay? Don't self-cite unless you have a paper that's directly as a continuation of that work. Don't do self-citation, it's bad. Materials, okay, discuss the method, the materials, everything, if it is experimental. Results use descriptive headings that concisely state the results. Data representation concise and accurate, short and easy to understand, consistent with the abstract and the introduction. So don't repeat the information in graphics and text. Sometimes they put a table or a figure and then they put it in a table. Either table or figure. Figure is better to me. Results, avoid using words such as proves, confirmed. Nothing is confirmed. Science is dynamic. Nothing is confirmed. You might, what's confirmed now, tomorrow it might not be confirmed. Don't use these kind of things. Hardest section to write is the discussion. Hardest section to write, but it's also the most important because that's where the physics, you're explaining what's really happening from the results, from the numbers that you get. Answer the question posed in the introduction. In the introduction, you say the purpose of this paper is to do blah 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 blah. The results answers the questions that you raise in the introduction. Correlation of your finding with existing knowledge. How your work improved the current knowledge. How you broke the boundary. Okay? Discrepancies between new results and previously reported results. If you have things, sometimes people say, for example, in thermodynamics, for those who said, water boils at 100 degrees and 1 atmosphere. People always say, oh, water boils at 100 degrees. This is an incorrect statement. Because if you change the pressure, it doesn't boil, it could boil at 149 degrees, depending on the pressure. 1 atmosphere and 100 degrees, yes, water boils. So therefore, be consistent and state the proper information. Okay, conclusion, identify key findings and applications. Should not be a summary of the work. The abstract does the summary. In conclusion, you have to state some of the major results that came out, usually in bulletin or numbers. Okay, consistent with experimental work and introduction. References, cite the references according to the journal that you're submitting. There are ways of doing that. You can do ACS style references, abstract, book, if it is book, etc. This people end note at that time you can set the style of that and the system will do it automatically. Acknowledgements, do acknowledge whoever, if you have funding from a project, university gave you a project, you say the authors acknowledge the support of the graduate studies, whatever, for project blah blah blah, university blah blah blah, etc. Give people their intellectual contributions, dedications. For example, you helped me in the work, but not helped me enough to be a co-author. I thank this. If you benefit from the reviewers, I thank the reviewers for their constructive comments that helped improve the quality of the work. So this helps people, and even sometimes when people from outside read your work and read this acknowledgement, they say this guy is a professional, acknowledging the reviewer after they got the paper accepted. Okay, it's not like you're not brown nosing to the reviewer because they already finished, but you're giving them right because they benefited you. Okay, final steps. The checking revisions. Revisions, what you do is that you have collaborators. I write the paper, I send it to you. Check it. Check it, check it, check it, check it. You may have something that I missed. Okay? When you do multiple checking, then most likely it will be free of errors, whether English, whether text, whether anything like that. So revisions, etc. You sometimes, if you want to write things, I don't do it usually. I grab this and write outside. So to avoid jargon, a considerable amount of, don't write big thing, make it simple. Much, on account of, because, a number of, several, referred to as, called, in a number of cases, some. So I don't have to use big languages like I'm showing that I'm good in English. This is not good in English. This makes it really bad to the reader. Okay? Responsibilities, new and original research. A manuscript has to be checked by all listed authors. All authors has to contribute. They don't have to contribute equally. I could contribute 10%. Okay? Somebody could be 50%. Okay? Etc. In general, if you are a professor, don't put your name first. Put your name, it's more valuable for your name to be last. The young guy, put him first. If he a graduate student, put him first author. That's his work or her work, because they have done the work. I know some people are selfish. They put their name first and the student after and co-authors after and stuff. No, this is not professional. Put the name of the student first. You're last. Okay? Originality, criteria for acceptance. Originality, of course, original work, novel work. Scientific quality. It's impossible to write good paper on the basis of lousy science. If the science is not intact, it will not be published. Even if it's published, people will criticize it and it may be removed from the journal later on. Okay, experimental design and methodology, research, data representation, depth of the investigation, thorough and logic discussion of the result. Okay, clarity of presentation, organization. Paper is much more likely to be rejected based on inadequate analysis than lack of originality. You might have really original work, but you did not present the work properly, it will be rejected, even if it's good work. Importance to the field. Okay, major reasons for rejection. Study is not confirmation, it's a confirmation. That means it's not novel. Okay, it will be rejected. Poor experimental design. Targeted journal is not suitable. You send it, it's in engineering, you send it to medicine. It doesn't work. Okay, weakly written representation and language. Language is very important, because sometimes you might not have really heavy science, but you write it properly, it will be accepted. This is the steps from completion. The most important factors, consideration of influence whether the manuscript will be considered are the title, abstract, etc. The letter to the editor as well is also, sometimes I receive submission of my journal, I just submit the file, no letter. I mean, you're not even addressing any, what do you want with this? Publish it or what to do with it? So you have to write a letter, proper letter. Ethics, quickly, be factual, honorable, legal, truthful, be objective, be accurate. That's ethical duty. Do not deceive, do not falsify, do not plagiarize. Okay? Authorship issues, this is a big thing nowadays. You know, people just buy their location in a paper. I would pay you from my project, put my name on, I don't know anything about the paper, I'll put my name on your research. This is unethical. Okay? Informed consent, institution review, if you're doing something, animal things with animal testing, acknowledgement past and present contribution of authors, registered clinical, etc. Plagiarism is a big problem. Other forms of scientific writing, of course, whatever applies to the paper can apply to a thesis, patent, book, chapter of a book, technical research grants, reports, etc. So you do the same kind when you do research, all of this. Structured and unstructured, this is one style. Abstract, this is unstructured. And now you look at the award-winning article. This is the structure, and I'm finishing with this. The structure as the introduction, method, results, and discussion, and I did not even find the thank you at the end. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shmukha. Hang tight. Two questions for audience.
طول
Short response.
definitely.
سؤالين عندنا سؤالين الفحص. تفضل.
Thank you, Professor, for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you.
As a student, as a master student, for my first publication, should I choose the speed of a conference or the impact of a journal?
If the paper, usually, personally, when I publish a paper in a journal, in a conference, okay, I don't publish it in a journal. Because nowadays with plagiarism authenticate, when they do authenticate in the journal, they catch the paper published. They tell you this is published paper. So you cannot do it that. If the paper is valuable, if it's not little part of your research, if it is not little part, if it's a major part, go to the journal directly, because the journal will be there forever. The conference is like, I want to participate in a conference to meet researchers, and I have little part of the results. I present it as an idea, and I can talk about big things in the conference because it's not published. Okay? If the conference is not indexed by Scopus, yes, you can publish it. You can go and present it as a presentation, and then you can publish it in the journal. But if the conference is indexed by Scopus, it means it becomes a publication. If it is published in a conference proceeding in the index, and then when you send it to the journal, it will be rejected, thinking that it is already published. So if it is just a presentation, go to the presentation conference and meet people and present and get energized, and then you can publish it in the journal if the conference is not indexed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Second question.
You want to learn research? You're a researcher.
Thank you, Professor Ali, for your important presentation. I have quickly and technical.
Good question. Good
Technical
answer.
question. As I editor and guest editor and your case, what is the important parameters for classification of the rank of the journals? These parameters.
The rank?
Yes.
Citation.
These parameters depend of database, easy was office or house of edition or other.
Let me understand your question from. You said how I can characterize the journal, whether it's Q1, Q2, Q3, right? We already said what characterizes them is the impact factor of the journal. If the impact factor in the journal is high, meaning papers in that journal are cited heavily, okay? If the impact factor is high, then in material science, you have 10 journals, let's say, okay? If one journal gets a lot of citations that increase their impact factor of the journal, then it becomes number one in the journal list in material. Then this one will be most likely to be Q1, because Q1 meaning you have 10 journals, anyone from, let's say 12 journals, the first three are Q1. The second, if you rank them in terms of impact factor, the top three will be Q1. The second three will be Q3, Q2, Q3, Q4, if they are equal. That's how they rank them, based on impact factor. Now, whether to publish in Elsevier or Wiley or something, it doesn't matter, because this classification applies to any publisher, okay? And usually Elsevier is most respected, but it's not necessarily the MDPI also, they have good journals, bad journals, okay? Get the serious ones, get things that don't have doubt. If you have a publisher that a lot of papers are retracted from that publisher, stay away, be afraid. I would be afraid from MDPI, because MDPI nowadays, for example, if I don't like you, I can write this paper by Zidani, okay, to the editor. Have question marks, he have done the lab not properly. They question your work without any reason, okay, because they hate you. And then the editor might say, oh, answer this, we're not convinced, retract it. You ruin their future because one guy sent it to the editor like this. So avoid this kind of publishers or journals. Wiley have done that. Recently, I had one faculty member in my department, professor. He got promoted to a professor, and suddenly I had 8 papers of him retracted. Why? He did not do anything wrong. They said it is a special issue that the journal or the editor thinks there are some manipulation in it by the editor, guest editor. If the guest editor made a mistake as an author, why should I be penalized? You retracted my papers. You penalized the guest editor. Okay? But this ruins their. So we got the evaluated the case. I said, he's innocent. He has nothing to do with that. But in his record now, he has 8 publications retracted, which is bad for a researcher. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Shemkha.